Welcome to the artsy and crafty world of Alexandria Gold, where everything is created for you by me. And today I want to show you how to crochet your very own teeny tiny Totoro that's no larger than the size of a quarter. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and do a magic ring. However you like to do it, I know there's a few different ways of doing it. So here's my foundation chain. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 single crochet into my magic ring. And I think what's important in doing this is to really use the base of your needle, because it's going to keep your stitches looser and it'll make it easier for the upcoming rounds. It's just going to keep your tension looser. And here's 2. And here's 3. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and pull my magic ring closed. Oops. And then when you're closing it, make sure that the threads that you're closing are almost, let's see if I can turn it sideways, are almost underneath the 3 stitches that you just made. And try and keep it that way, especially in the next round, because that'll make it so that your Totoro has a flat head and not a cone head. It means you might want a cone head Totoro, but for me, I think I like it just flat. We just closed our magic ring and we're going to continue on into the next round. In this round you're actually going to make ears. Because the critters are so small, I generally like to make any limbs or ears or tails within the continuous round. I don't usually do attachments when they're this tiny. So we're going to go into the next stitch and we're going to increase. Now this one's always a little bit trickiest because he's closest to the threads you just tightened, so it can be a little bit hard to get him in there. Don't give up. Just kind of work my way in there and usually get through. There we go. Okay. Yarn over, and I'm gonna pull through. Now you can use tweezers. I use my nails, but you can use tweezers to hold on to this part when you're pulling these through. It gets easier the bigger the critter gets, but in these first rounds it can be a little bit tricky. So before I finish this first single crochet, it's important to kind of almost pull your, I'm just going to take my hook out a little bit from where I'm working. Okay. It's important to just push the middle of your creation through and just move your stitches around this middle part, which is actually the magic ring. And this is going to help keep the top of your critter's head flat and also help you keep track of your stitches better. Okay, I'm going to finish my first single crochet in the second round. Okay, I'm going to go back into the same stitch. And do another single crochet for an increase. Leaves you with 4 stitches. Again, I'm just going to check to make sure that I'm still leaving this guy in the middle. Okay, now we're going to make our first ear. So we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, Now I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And then I'm going to single crochet in the last chain from the hook. Okay, and there's your ear. Now we're going to continue on into the round again, and we're going to increase. It's giving you a total of 5 stitches in the round. Okay, so here's 1. There's that base. And then number 2. So now you'll have 5 stitches going around, and we're going to make our second ear. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're going to chain 3. So here's 1, 2, 3, and you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. 1, and then we're going to do it again in the last chain from the hook. And then we're going to continue back into the round, and the last single crochet you're going to increase. That's this guy here. Okay, so 1. 2. Okay, continuing on into our second round, we're also going to increase to 9. So in this first single crochet here, we're going to increase. So here's 1, 2, and then we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. That's a total of 7 stitches. Now we're going to go across this ear that we made into this stitch within the round, and we're going to increase. So as I'm pulling through, what I like to do is I like to grab hold of our little ear and just pull it up so that we really make sure that his ears are going to be standing upright and that there isn't a big hole from where we moved into this little set of stitches past the ear here. So you're going to increase. And then we're going to single crochet in this next stitch. And that'll give you a total of 8 stitches. Now we're going to go into this next stitch past the ear, the second ear, here. A little bit tricky to get in there. There we go. Okay, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for the last ear in order to keep it upright. I'm just going to pull on it, tug, and that's going to naturally move your stitches closer together. And then I'm going to finish the stitch. And then we're going to go back into that same stitch, and we're going to increase for a total of 9 stitches in the third round. Okay, and then in this final stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. Okay, and from here, this should be easy. You're just going to do a single crochet in each of your single crochet for a total of 9 still in your 4th round. Let me just do that really quick. So you have 1, 2, 3. And in this round, it's not as important to go all the way down to the base of your hook. If you want, you can, but it's not as important. It's just mostly in those beginning stitches. Those 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Alright, this is actually the little Totoro head right here. You can kind of see it starting to take shape a little bit. Now we're going to increase in this next round to 12. So in your next stitch, you're going to do a 2 single crochet increase. And here's 1, 2, and then in the next 2 stitches in your round, you're going to do a single crochet in each of them. So here's 1, and then in my next stitch, I'm going to do 1 single crochet. Okay, and the next stitch, you're going to increase again. 1, 2, then in the next 2 stitches, single crochet in each of them. So here's 1, 2, okay, final increase in the next stitch, 1, reinsert, 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 1, 2. Now that will be a total of 12 stitches, and in the next round you're just going to single crochet in each of the 12 stitches that you just made. In the next round we're going to increase to 15, and that'll be the most amount of stitches that you will have in your Totoro. Okay, so in the next stitch you're going to increase, so 1, reinsert, 2, and then you're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So now you have 13 stitches. We're going to increase in the next stitch. 1, 2, single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to increase in the next stitch. 1, 2, and then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, oops, the next one, 2, 3, increase. 1, and then 3 single crochet, and then the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we have 15 stitches. You're just going to do a single crochet in each of the stitches around. And actually, if you want, if you're somebody like me, you know, I like to watch TV a lot while I crochet. You actually can use a stitch marker at this point if you want, because a lot of times I'm not paying attention. And these little itty bitty gold safety pins work the best for that. So I'll just, for the sake of the demonstration, I will show you how to do that. You're just gonna, in your last stitch, you're just gonna put the pin through, and make sure before you close it to tug on it, make sure your string is still workable. And then you're gonna close it, and then you have your little stitch marker to go. Now I'm going to single crochet in each of these. So the pin is actually tiny enough where it's not going to be too bothersome to have while you're working, especially if you're in the middle of a good show. Okay. Back at our beginning stitch and take out our stitch marker. Okay, so in this round we're going to give our little Totoro a tail, and we're going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, and then there's 2, and actually this puts us right about the middle of Totoro's back, so you can kind of see there, and this is where we're going to do his tail. So you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then in this second chain here, you're going to do a single crochet, and that's it. There's his tail. You're just going to continue around and single crochet in the rest of your stitches. Now we're going to start to decrease. So we're going to do a single crochet decrease in these first 2 stitches. Okay. So you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then you have 3. Yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops for your first decrease. Now we're going to jump over to the other side of this tail into this stitch here, and we're just going to do a single crochet. Yarn over, and again I'm going to do like what we did with the ears, and I'm just going to try and give the tail a little tug. You can use your tweezers. Single crochet 2, and then 3, now we're going to single crochet decrease again. So there's 1, yarn over, 2 loops on the hook, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, 3 stitches on your hook, yarn over, and pull your thread through all 3 loops. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. final decrease for this round. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Insert it into the next stitch, yarn over for 3 loops on your hook. Pull through all 3 loops, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you should have 12 stitches, and we're going to decrease again in this round down to 9. So I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, and then in the next stitch, 3 loops, yarn over and pull through, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that's 1, 2, okay, so at this point the hole's getting pretty small, so we're going to want to start thinking about stuffing our little Totoro. So before I continue on to finish this round, I'm just going to pull this out so that I don't lose my loop, and we're going to start stuffing. So I like to just use regular doll stuffing, just some polyester fiber fill, and you're just going to take really teeny tiny pieces of it and ball it up. And what I like to do is I will actually take a chopstick. I like the pointy end of a chopstick, and just going to use that to gently poke in the doll stuffing into your little Totoro. This actually looks pretty good. I like to make sure that all of the little strands are nicely tucked away in there, because it can get stuck in your thread work. Okay, so now we're going to continue on to close this round. So I'm going to do a single crochet decrease. And just be careful to steer clear of your stuffing, because you can pull it through. It does happen. Okay, so 1, and then insert into the next stitch. So you can have your 3 loops on your hook. Pull through all 3 loops for a decrease. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So here's 1, and here's 2. Okay, so now in this round, I know we usually do sets of 3, but I find that sometimes when you do that, you have a little too much girth on his bottom part, and we want it to be kind of flat so that he can stand upright like his little buddy back there. So from here, I won't even finish this round really. I will just start doing a decrease and just keep decreasing around until the hole is closed. So here's 1 decrease, and then I'll start to cheat even further, and I will go like I'm going to do a normal decrease. So there's 1 loop on my hook, and I will actually skip the next stitch and go into the neighboring one right here. And I'll pull through for 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 of my loops. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Skip this stitch, go through his neighbor, pull through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, And then here I'll just do, because it's pretty closed, I'm just gonna do one of the stitches, doesn't really matter which one. I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna do a slip stitch just to fasten it all off. Okay? Now I'm gonna take my super sharp scissors. I'm gonna cut a little tail, leave some length so that you have enough to use for fastening. And then pull it through, and then you can go ahead and give your Totoro a little squish. Just push his little booty in, his little ears up. Just squish him so he's a little plump. And here's your little Totoro shape. Little box of needles that I have here. I like to just use needles that you would use for like cross stitch or some embroidery work. This one's a little bit big, but it works for what we have to do. I'm going to take your little ends here, just kind of poke them through your needle head. So I like to find, in between the stitches there. And after you pull this thread through, you can actually tie a knot here and reinsert it and pull it out another way just to make sure that the threads are really secure, but I find that it doesn't really matter. You don't need to do that. It holds pretty well just on its own. So then I like to cut off this tail, get through the needle, and again find a nice little hole that your needle wants to easily go through, and then on the opposite end of Totoro's body I'm going to find another hole for it to come out of. This works. Pull through, and then on this one you're actually going to pull pretty hard. You want to like really bring those stitches into his body just to get that flat bottom that we want to have. And then I'm going to take your scissors again and you're just going to snip off the tail. Okay, so the next stage is we're going to do the face and body details. So what you're going to want to have is some pieces of felt. So you just have, the little pieces of felt you can get at the craft store, and you can take a pen or and draw out a circle if you want, if that makes it easier for you to cut it out. But a lot of times what I like to do is I will just take a really sharp pair of scissors and I will cut out the shapes down to size as I go, and just kind of lay the piece up against the critter to see if it's the size that I want. Okay, so once you have your tiny felt pieces cut out, you're gonna look at your Totoro and look at where the holes in between the stitches are, because that's gonna help you determine where you're gonna sew your eyeballs on. So I like to, because as you can see here we have a nose for Totoro too. So I like to kind of center it. I'll probably put an eyeball. I'll probably put an eyeball here and an eyeball here so that I can put the nose here in this sort of triangle shape that you see here. So when you go to sew on these teeny tiny pieces, it can be a little bit intimidating because you want it to go right through the center. So I like to take one of these really small tipped pens. It's like 005. It's really, really small. Let me show you. It's so super tiny. And then in the middle of the piece of felt, I'm just going to put a tiny little dot in the middle so I know where to aim my needle when I go to sew it on Totoro. The same thing with this one. Nobody's gonna see this side, so it doesn't have to be, perfect. It's just to help you aim. I'm gonna take some more thread. I'm gonna use a black. I like to use DMC's 310. And every piece of embroidery thread has 6 strands, as you can see here. So you're actually going to separate a strand of 6 into 3. Okay. And just pull a little piece apart like that. And we have 3 strands, and we're gonna tie a knot. I'm going to take one of your embroidery needles, probably one of the smaller ones, because you have to go through such a small piece of felt. Got it through there. Okay, so now, like I said, go back to where you determined your eyes were going to be. And in the back of Totoro's head, you're going to insert your needle and you're going to pull it through where you decided that eye was going to be. You're going to take your little eyeball, and the side that you drew the pen mark on will go face down onto your needle. Just like that. Now you're going to pull your needle through with the thread. And on the back side, you're just going to make sure that it goes through enough where you're not going to see the knot anymore. And then we're going to tie a knot. And that is going to make your eyeball. Now, go underneath where you made your knot, back in to your piece of felt. Now you're going to go where the other hole is that you decided your second eyeball would be, and you're going to take your second eyeball, put that on your needle, just like that. Pull it through. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to pull your knot through on the other side. Now you're going to tie another knot to make his second eye. You're going to insert it underneath your knot, back into the body, and you're going to bring the needle out where you want your Totoro's nose to be. I think I'm actually going to put the nose right here. So I'm going to pull it out here. Pull this little eyeball down. And then I'm going to make a nose. So it's just a knot. And then I'm going to insert the needle underneath the knot to the opposite side of Totoro's head, out another hole. And again, don't pull too hard because you don't want to pull your knot through the hole. And then we're just going to tie a knot here, and this is just to secure all your stitch work on the front of Totoro. And we're going to reinsert it. Just pick another spot within his body to pull the needle through. And then this time you want to tug hard enough to get your knot to go inside his body so it's hidden. Okay, now we're done. So we're just going to cut off this stitch. Okay, so we're going to work on this part of Totoro now. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just going to indicate where I'm going to sew. So I'm going to do one here. And I don't want to do it too close to the end because you still have to sew this piece onto Totoro's body. But I'm just going to make some upside down V shapes. There's one. Do one over here. Gonna do one over here and here. On my right side, I'm gonna stick the needle through. Go over to this, make our little V shape. Go into this top part here. And there we have our first little Totoro V shape. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And there we have our three little V shapes for Totoro. Okay, and on the back side, I'm just going to tie another knot just to secure our detail. And I'm going to snip it off. Okay, there we have our chest piece. Okay, so in order to sew the chest piece on, I'm going to get my little box of needles in here again. You're just going to take a regular sewing needle this time, and some regular white thread. Doesn't really matter what kind. And I'm just going to get a small amount of thread. It doesn't need to be a lot because you don't have to sew a lot. Okay? And you're going to take your sewing needle thread it through, line up your chest piece onto his body. I like to make sure that this top point is in line with his nose. So you're going to do your best to hold that in place, and then on his back side you're going to find somewhere to insert the needle. And I'm going to put it through the chest piece. Kind of far down. Enough where you have enough felt to kind of sew on. And I'm going to pull it through. Okay, so this is the only one that you need to actually go through his back end, and that's just to hide your knot that you made and make sure that your thread stays securely in place. You're only going to insert your needle into the surface of your Totoro's body, into this part here. Just the front of his stitches right here. So you don't have to keep going all the way through his body in order to sew this piece on. Go like that. And then you're going to go back through the felt. Like that. And again, you're going to just find a piece to pull your needle through. On this last stitch, you're actually going to move through Totoro's body, and you're going to pull out the needle in one of the holes in the back. And you're going to tie a knot, and then you're going to insert the needle back into the hole and pull it out on the other side of his body through another hole. And pull tight so you can hide your knot. And then you're going to snip off this little piece of thread. And then, now that we have our little go, you're just going to kind of squish them and push them around until he's like the right shape that you want him to be. Pull up his little ears, and there you have it. If you're looking to download a pattern, you can find it on my blog through my website at riaartworld.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and look for Ria Art World on other social media sites. I really hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I'll see you next time!